Hello guys, my name is Intan and my ID number is 2103050066. Okay, now I want to explain and describe a journal about vocabulary self-collection strategy is effective to improve vocabulary mastery achievement on senior high school students. Okay, let's take the introduction. Mastering vocabulary is important in dealing now and in language. This is due to the fact vocabulary is built into all elements of the language, to be specific reading, writing, speaking, and listening. While not having sufficient vocabulary, it must be not possible to gather proper abilities in any language skill. Okay. Argues that being not able to communicate meaningfully is irrespective of how kids can examine grammar, no matter of how the sound of an also are learned as long as there are not any word which to carry a plus has variety of meanings. Science English become the foreign language in Indonesia. It includes in school curriculum from elementary to high school. Thinking about significance of mastering vocabulary, it ought to learn using the suitable strategy the student vocabulary mastery can be stepped forward. Mainly at the senior school level in Baobab, such as Sulawesi. It is supported by Kafir and neighbors, which argue that the use of learning method is very essential in the process of vocabulary acquisition and is highly dependent on the effort of the learner. As stated by Nation, the language of reading, listening, speaking, and writing have two distinct forms of vocabulary. This vocabulary is receptive, predictive, passive, and active. Receptive or passive vocabulary refers to what in the field and understood by local and overseas speakers, which might be hardly ever used anyway. Productive or active vocabulary is actively spoken or written. The vocabulary of the pupil is commonly broader than the of the speakers, even as the vocabulary of the pupil is pretty massive. The reception vocabulary in most language novice is significantly larger than is a productive vocabulary, however, have proven the quality to which this relationship is not orderly or predictable. He calls stimulate vocabulary productive vocabulary. It consists of a phrase that pupils need in regular communication. A receptive vocabulary consists of the efficient speech and the unique spirit vocabulary of learners. Un- Used vocabulary may be separated into the two from one word which might be the most effective part understood and little acknowledged for active use, and two terms that are not needed in regular communication. Furthermore, so that there are two forms of vocabulary is the basic vocabulary and the peripheral language. Thinking about the importance of vocabulary, then it needs to gain clarity of with the ideal method for learners to collect new vocabulary through the mastering method within the classroom. The issue seems the vocabulary of the pupil of Senior high school for Baobab has Sulawesi. English teachers introduce English vocabulary using translation and ask pupils to memorize it. Translation ought to be prevented because it has numerous risks, such the pupil may have rebellions and no longer are worked by the translator. From the reason, many students lose interest and become bored in study vocabulary. Consequently, student vocabulary fluency could be very low due to the fact students have issues memorizing the new words which have been taught and they effortlessly forget about the phrases and have been learned early then. By knowing the problem phase of the student is senior high school for above, the researchers suggest one strategy to overcome it. Researchers use the self-vocabulary collection or PS strategy to educate vocabulary to enhance pupils' vocabulary fluency. The pupils turned into evolved with the aid of Ruder in 2005. State and that the pupils' goal in the profile a long-term incentive for fulfill acquiring work by raising their interest in integrating new topic work into their educational vocabulary over time. As students use pieces, their study approach look at the material what to use, expand the vocabularies, and become what mindful. Moreover, Haggard indicate that there are the benefit to adopting various, making a connection among the world and their meaning, growing people interest in new phrases and grow student passion of learning and the invention of let's watch. For the outline of various above, it could be concluded that using various can improve student vocabulary mastering, so making the study more fun, bringing enthusiasm for students to some point of study process, and motivating the student to accumulate new work, except researchers display the achievement of the usage of various to enhance student vocabulary mastery. Therefore, the field is applied by the researcher on grade 11 student at senior high school for Baobab by expanding the strategy will encounter student vocabulary learners problem with learn to improvement for of their vocabulary mastery achievement. By looking at the explanation above, this researcher come with the problem as follows. Is there any significant difference on vocabulary mastery achievement between who are taught is using VSS and those who are not grade 11 student at the senior school for Bobo. Therefore, okay, a method. A quantitative approach of quasi-experimental design was used of this research. Is intended that the student use group of students within one group change into deal with a control group and some other group turned into Harvard as an experimental group. The students considered in the studies were 11th grade students from Sri High School for Bourbon, with a total number were 184 students. The sample had been class Science 4 as an experimental class and Science 7 as a control class with a total number were 60 students. Were selected as a samples using Professor cluster sampling technique. It means each group of students who has low vocabulary learning achievement had the opportunity to be selected as a sample of this research. To collect the data, this research needed an instrument. The instrument used was probability test. It was linked the effective or productive ability of limits overall. The test was defeat, pretest, and post-test. Finding and discussion. Research is conducted on grade 11 students at senior high school for Baobab. It takes two class as a sample. Each class consists of 30 students, so the total number of samples is 60 students. Since this research use the test as the researcher instrument, the researcher administers the practice first, then does the treatment, and finally administer the post-test. To the item of the multiple choice, the test must be answered by the student to find out their achievement before and after the implementation of VSS is in measuring vocabulary. The result of each test both in experimental and control cases are explained below. From the data of score above, it can be known that there is not only students achieving excellent category, while there are 3 students or 10% achievers per very poor category. It means there are just 3 students or 10% of total students who have a very poor achievement of mastering vocabulary. Besides, by looking at the table, it can be known there are 21 students of 50% of total students get under average achievement. Even though this research is just focused on the student vocabulary mastery achievement through VSS, in which the purpose of VSS is to enable to long-term acquisition of vocabulary. But some researchers also prove that VSS is effective on students vocabulary learning motivation and behavior. To motivate students to learn vocabulary since they do not feel bored, enjoy the class, and actively join the learning. And conclusion. Primarily based on the end result of the data analysis as provided formally within the descriptive analysis supported through the hypothesis test and effectiveness test. This research concludes that there's significant difference in the achievement of vocabulary proficiency among students at those that are taught using self-taught vocabulary collection strategy and those who are taught through the conventional approach. It may be seen inside the average score of the post-test in which inside the experimental class is 79 and is categorized as good. It means the student gain an awesome command of vocabulary after being taught using the vocabulary self-collection strategy. For contrast, the mean post-test score in the control class is 6 69 and classified as 4. It reveals the student have an appropriate achievement in vocabulary mastery after being taught using the conventional method. Moreover, the result of the efficiency test conclude that the vocabulary self-collection approach is greater effective than the conventional approach. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you for your attention. Bye bye.